Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to also contribute on this Election Offences Amendment number 2 Bill 2024. And Madam Speaker, yes, I do support this bill because, of course, what the bill is suggesting, some of us have gone through it, and of course we would want it to be amended so that we can fill those gaps or seal the loopholes. Madam Speaker, as many have said, yes, the bill is supposed to cure the unreasonable delays when it comes to the announcement of election results, Madam Speaker. And I remember, although this is talking about the general election, I remember in 2017, Madam Speaker, there was a delay. I can give this as an example in Kiambu County, where the election of 2017, although it was the nomination, party nominations, where the results of the governor were announced, the results of the women rep were announced, but the results of the senator, they had to take about 3 days, Madam Speaker, to give the results. I think that was the period where the returning officers were cooking the results. So if this law was also to be applied within the political parties when they're doing their nominations, I think it can cure a lot of irregularities that would come with it, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the law is also talking about those returning officers who tally results of ungazetted polling stations. And also it has been discussed that no one, the returning officer or any other person, should interfere with the results, Madam Speaker. But Madam Speaker, looking at this law and what it's trying to cure, I think we are going to bring more amendments to it, Madam Speaker, because it has been said here that the election is a process. So we don't want to just look at the issue of counting the votes, tallying, and announcing the results. We need to look at the process itself from the campaign period, Madam Speaker. I have a bill, Madam Speaker, that is coming, and I think I will try to see whether it can fit as an amendment in this amendment bill that has been moved here, Madam Speaker. And my bill was called the Anti-Campaign Lies Law, Madam Speaker. What am I talking about, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, there has been a lot of lies against candidates when people are trying to campaign. And by lying, they lie to the voter who does not vote according to the way they understand their candidate, but according to how they were lied to, Madam Speaker. The same anti-campaign lies law, Madam Speaker, it also talks about lying on promises and policies and manifestos, Madam Speaker. And this is something that we need to look at as a parliament, that we should not allow people to stand and lie to the voter, and the voter will make a decision thinking that I'm voting for you to provide what you've just said, and yet, once you get in there, you change. So you made me vote for you as per what you had said, Madam Speaker. So I think this is an amendment that we need to bring into this law. And I can give an example again in 2017, Madam Speaker. Again is the campaign, the gubernatorial seat in Kiambu County in 2017. Again is the former governor, William Kabogo, and the former governor, Waitito Babayao, Madam Speaker. And it was said the governor then in Kiambu County had said nasty things about women. And by that, Madam Speaker, Governor Kabogo lost his seat. But nobody was able to prove whether he had actually said what it was purported to be said. And the person lost the seat. But since we do not have a law that talks about the anti-campaign lies law, he could not go anywhere. We call it propaganda and people think it's okay. Another example, Madam Speaker, we have the CS for mining. The CS, the former governor of Mombasa, Joho. He is on record, Madam Speaker, saying that he will never work with the President William Ruto. He called President Ruto a thief, and he said, I cannot work with him. Madam Speaker, many people never voted for William Ruto then because they believe in Joho. But today, Joho is in government. He is working under the same president, the same Ruto that he said he will never work with. So, Madam Speaker, they lied to the voters And the voters did not make the right decision. The voters of Mombasa never voted for us, never voted for Ruto, never voted for President Ruto, Madam Speaker, because they believed in what was said by the then Governor Joho, Madam Speaker. So what I'm trying to say, and what I'm...
What's your point of order, Senator Eddy?
Madam Speaker, I rise under Standing Order number 105. Madam Speaker, read together with Standing Order number 101 and with prevalence of Standing Order number 101 on content of speech. Madam Speaker, the content of speech of the Senator of Kiambu has provoked the word "they lied to the people." And this is discussing the person of Honorable Joe, who is the CS for blue economy, mining in the country, Madam Speaker. There's a duality in that statement, Madam Speaker. There is one statement of fact issues that arises from the standing orders, but more importantly, Madam Speaker, is that it is discussing the persona of Honorable Joe, to the extent that the Senator of Kiambu is mischaracterizing and prosecuting the persona of the CS in this House without a substantive motion, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, I think that is very out of order, and I think he should be able to withdraw that statement, apologize to the CS Joe, vehemently so, and if possible, Madam Speaker, if he must speak the kind of language that he has put on the character of the CS, Madam Speaker, then
Senator Eddy,
it has to be the substantive motion.
You've actually made your point on there, your point of order. Senator Karungo, do you want to substantiate at a later time, or do you want to withdraw?
Madam Speaker, now, this is what we are trying to cure. The truth, Madam Speaker. I have nothing to apologize about, because it is in the public domain. And if you'd want me to substantiate,
Senator Karungo,
I'll bring that clip here.
Substantiate your statement by tomorrow, by Monday, when we...
Yes, and I hope, Madam Speaker, when I substantiate, you will allow for us to play a clip or a video of the said CS.
Senator Karungo, please proceed.
I will do that, Madam Speaker. I will do that, Madam Speaker. And thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker protects me.
He has not even spoken. No, just speak where you are, please.
Madam Speaker, I stood under the point of order 101 and point of order 105. The Senator of Kiambu has responded to point of order 105, where he says he can be able to substantiate, Madam Speaker. But that substantiation, Madam Speaker, is an allegation that is tantamount to discussing the character of the CS, Madam Speaker. Understanding order 101, he cannot discuss the Senator CS Eddy, without a substantive motion.
That decision can only be made once he substantiates. Please.
Madam Speaker, I would say that Senator Eddy has a red tie.
Order, Senator Eddy. He has not continued to discuss the CS. That is your own saying, please.
Thank
Senator
you very much.
Karungo, you will substantiate on Monday and proceed with your statement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll do so. Madam Speaker, we can always substantiate the truth, and we will do that, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much. What I'm trying to say, Madam Speaker, is that this law is only talking about the voting, how to vote, where to vote, the tallying, the counting of votes, and then projecting the votes to the country to understand or to know the results, Madam Speaker. And that's what I'm saying. The issue is not about counting the votes. We are all here, Madam Speaker. We were voted for. It was counted. It was announced. It was said that so-and-so won. We even went to the courts, and it was ruled that so-and-so won, Madam Speaker. The issue is not about that. The issue is about the process of how we got there, Madam Speaker. And that is what we should cure. And I said, the issue of campaigns, Madam Speaker, there is a lot of misinformation and false statements in political campaigns. And that kind of misinformation misleads the voter about the candidate, about the policies, and of course about the election process, Madam Speaker. I remember, and I like giving these examples, and I hope Senator Eddy won't start when I give this example. During the Moi era, Madam Speaker, people were being lied to. They were told, if you don't want Moi, you put X where his name is. Madam Speaker, it was said all over. But you know, by putting X next to a person, that is a mark to vote for someone. And that's how people were winning election, by misleading people. By telling, if you want so-and-so, you put right. And if you don't want them, you put X. So again, you destroy the vote, Madam Speaker. So this is what we are talking about when it comes to misleading the people when they are making a decision. Madam Speaker, we need to protect the voters' rights. And that is the example that I gave that here today, Madam Speaker, by penalizing false statement that may influence voters' behavior, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I was voted for. I said I would stand with my people. Kajuang the other day, he is on record saying that maybe we should also make it very easy for the citizens of this country to recall us from the parliament. We should make it easy for the public to impeach a senator and impeach a member of parliament. We have made it easy for governors. We have made it easy for presidents and deputy presidents. And now, Madam Speaker, by the way, we never knew you could remove a vice president. Now we have seen. Now, it's a drill, Madam Speaker. Maybe what is coming is bigger than that, Madam Speaker. But what I'm trying to say here, Madam Speaker, is that now we know that it is easy to impeach a deputy president, a governor, a deputy governor. But why is it so hard to remove an MP? Why is it so hard to remove a senator? I stand with Senator Kajuang when he says he's going to bring the law that will make it easier for us, for the public, to remove the MPs and the senators and the MCA, yes. I think I'm going to add that, Madam Speaker. Because when we were voted for, we said we are going to listen to our people. Are we listening to them? Our people tell us, don't pass the finance bill. They even come to the streets, but we still pass, Madam Speaker. So I think this bill is an issue of not just votes. We also need to protect, or to make it an election offense when you lie to the people for them to vote for you. Because lying to the people to vote for you, you are voted under pretense, Madam Speaker. And that is conmanship, and that is against the law, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I support this bill with the amendment, I want to give an example. In 2010, the general election of the United Kingdom, there is a candidate by the name Phil Woolers, Madam Speaker, of the Labour Party, who was found guilty of false information following the Section 106 of the UK Representation of the People's Act, Madam Speaker. And what was the problem, or what was his issue, or why was his election nullified? It was nullified, Madam Speaker, because he lied against his opponent by the name Ellie Watkins, Madam Speaker. How did he lie? He said, if you vote for this man, he is an extremist. He is following Muslims. And if you vote for him, he will run away from the constituency and live in another constituency, Madam Speaker. But their law protects that. So Mr. Watkins went to court and said, how did he know I'm going to move? How did he know I was an extremist? And so the court listened to the case, and his election was nullified and was barred from running for the next 3 years, Madam Speaker. We need to clean our electoral system. We need to clean our electoral processes, and we need to clean we need to protect the integrity of the vote, to protect the people who vote for us. So I will support this bill, and I'll be bringing more amendment to it, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Senator Mungatana.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to say on the onset that there are very many good provisions in this bill, in this amendment bill, and I support it. But Madam Speaker, I think we need